we'll record. Perfect. Okay, so, right. Oh, someone else coming in. Okay. Right. So, a block or a cushion or something if you wish for our seat in our meditation. It's always nice. I don't know, I'm probably attached to it. That's probably another issue to my block, but just nice to have a little bit of height for the hips, just slightly more comfortable. Because actually this position, this posture, Sukhasana, easy pose, and you can have your legs crossed, obviously, you know, it doesn't have to be a half lotus. It's important that you're comfy and that, you know, if you feel like you're knackered, you shuffle back so you've got a wall. This beginning posture can also be done lying down. So again, you know, listen and take heed. That's the other thing, you know, once we you know, the first thing is getting to listen to our body, and then we actually have to then take heed. Okay, so we will just let everything settle, grounding through the base of the posture and lifting up through the spine. And it's really important to set up the posture correctly every time, to spend a few moments just checking in with it. So ground through your seat. And that feeling that the tailbone is rooted, and yet there's that length up all the way through the spine. I mean, the spine has these sort of undulating natural curves, like an S shape, a very shallow S shape, primary and secondary curves, but we still want to get it to lift up, not to be like a broom handle, but to keep those curves, but to have that elevation through the spine. And then the all important, drawing yourself in and checking, just seeing how the body is, the hips and the legs, even extending your awareness into the feet and the toes. The belly, chest, relax your shoulders down, soften your face, the lips, the tongue, the jaw, parting the teeth just a little bit so you're really aware that there's no tightness and clenching going on. And then softening the expression, relaxing around the eyes. Begin, if you haven't already, the process of just starting and introducing the ocean breath. Knowing that it takes a few breaths to get into it. Slows the breath, it lengthens it. Over time, strengthening and increasing the capacity in your lungs. And as we just let this practice unfold, I'm going to just talk about the fourth limb of yoga. First, the yamas, 5 points to that. Then the niyamas, 5 points to that, which we took a week for each one. Third is asana, postures. Fourth, pranayama, which is really what we're doing now. And it's often translated to be just breathing practices, but it is more than that. It's energy management. Sounds like a 21st century take on it, doesn't it? But the control and the expansion of our life force. So again, I'm going to turn to this really useful book to just read a couple of bits from it in two different areas in this chapter. So just as time management is needed for optimal productivity, energy management is necessary for optimization of happiness. To understand the scope and practice of pranayama, it is helpful to break the word down for translation in two slightly different ways. Life force energy, called pran or prana, is in the sutra. It's the invisible, intelligent current that flows within us and around us all the time. So when the word pranayama is split, prana, yama, the yama means to control. But when it is split to prana ayama, the ayama means to expand. So essentially the practice of pranayama is the science of both controlling and expanding the energy that activates and organizes our physical bodies. So we know about the benefits of the deep conscious breathing, which is what we're doing now. But I think it's always useful to have that reminder. So this little bit on the deep conscious breathing. Awareness of how we move prana through the breath is a foundational building block of pranayama. If we did nothing more than learn to breathe slower, deeper, more evenly, we would increase our health and our lifespan significantly. The strong correlation between the physiology of breathing and the length of life is notable in the different lifespan of mammals that breathe slowly, like tortoises and elephants, versus those that breathe rapidly, like rabbits and mice. The average human breathes approximately 16 times per minute, but an advanced practitioner of pranayama can regulate this movement of energy through breath to less than 1 cycle per minute. Slowing the breath dramatically like this prolongs life by decreasing stress on organs and cortisol levels. In addition to increasing the length of life, pranayama also promotes a better quality of life experience on a purely physical level. Deep breathing maintains elasticity in lung tissue for greater pulmonary function and efficient blood oxygen levels. You know that. It slows the heart rate so that blood pressure decreases. It aids digestion through the circulation of the fluids in the organs, particularly if you're using your diaphragm well. It helps eliminate waste by circulating the blood in the liver and the kidneys. It aids the immune function by optimally circulating lymphatic fluid. Consistent deep breathing disposes of carbon dioxide and any buildup of toxins in the bloodstream more efficiently. So it's really useful to know the science. But really, for me, and you know, I urge you to kind of explore why you do it and why it's important to you. And if I just share why it's important for me, is that it grounds me and it makes me feel steady. And even if the mind is busy, it gives me that just ability and hook almost to kind of draw the mind down. The fluctuations, the monkey mind, busily jumping around from thing to thing. It steadies me, it grounds me, and it just really makes me feel better. So we'll take it even further. So blink your eyes just gently to open. And we come down to lying on our back. Slow rolling down slowly. And because it's just always nice to do this before we do anything else, just roll side to side with the knees squeezing in. Relax your jaw. And I want us to continue that practice of Ujjayi breathing. And just that reminder that you're not forcing it. It does naturally slow down because, you know, it takes time because you're restricting the throat just a little. And hopefully you can't hear the building work that's going on outside the window, and hopefully you can hear your gentle Ujjayi breath. But, you know, the world never stops. Right, so the feet come to the floor, the arms just, actually let's place the hands on the belly. And it's really great to do breathing exercises lying down, although arguably, interestingly, lying on your back does restrict the lung capacity a little bit. Anyway, that's an aside, which is why I will often get us to do the child's pose, breathing and expanding the back of the lungs as well. Right, so we're going to do the 3-part breath. Continuing with the ocean breathing, the Ujjayi, we draw the breath in deep into the lower part of the lungs for the first third. Then we breathe into the mid part of the lungs for the next third of the inhale. And the final bit of the inhale, we fill right up to the clavicle. The collarbone is where the tops of the lungs come to. And then as you breathe out, it's tops of the lungs, middle part of the lungs, and then the lower. And as you empty the lower, the belly button just gently maybe draws in and up. And really that's the action of the diaphragm. So take your time, and it does take a few breaths to kind of think, oh, to divide it up mentally in your head. And if there's that, also for me, there's always, when I started doing this, there's that, how do I know I'm breathing into the bottom part or the top part or whatever part? You just bring your awareness to that area and everything else just really does fall into place. Maybe it takes time, but don't stress about it. Just bring your awareness and visualize that you're breathing into the bottom third, then the next third into the mid part, and then finally right up to the top, like you're just filling these malleable air tanks, which is exactly what you are doing. Okay, so in your own time, we'll do as many breaths as we can in the next minute or so. I'll stop talking so you can just focus on the practice. This is a really good exercise to do in bed at night. It's called the full yogic breath, or the 3-part breath. So we'll keep this going, but we'll bring movement in too. And the next time you're breathing in, filling these amazing malleable air tanks that we have, we'll slowly at the same time lift up into bridge until you get right to the top of the posture and the top of the breath, and then you'll slowly replace everything down as you breathe out, and then we'll continue. So rising on inhale and releasing slowly back down with control on exhale. And then we'll bring the arms in. So next time we're up, as we start to lower, we slowly take the arms over the head and have a good stretch. And then as the arms then come down is when we're breathing in and lifting back up through the hips. So continue just to find that breathing and movement together. It's the only multitasking worth doing. Breathe, breath and movement. I don't know if you find this, but whenever I really get sort of deep breathing, deep into the belly, my digestion gets really noisy. It's because you're encouraging, it's like a gentle massage for the organs of digestion, and you encourage the blood flow, and so things get moving. I'm hoping you can't hear all the gurgling and stuff that's going on, but you've probably got your own gurgling happening, I'm imagining. Okay, let's do one, and we'll finish where we've got the hips lifted and the arms down by the sides, and we'll just stay here and breathe for a moment, just to really activate these muscles at the back of the body. Maybe interlace the hands if the shoulders are happy to do that. And then as you next breathe in, just lift a little bit higher. Keep the knees tracking hip width. So you breathe into this open front body and really engage and lift, and you should feel it in your glutes and the backs of your legs, and the back that supports the back muscles. Sorry, supports the spine, the back muscles that support the spine. And then release the hands and slowly, slowly roll down. And we come to happy baby. So the legs lift up. Start with just the hands at the back of the knees. Encourage the sacrum to sort of stay down a little bit as we rock, because we want this to be felt in the hips rather than the lower back. And then we're going to do a half happy baby. So we actually release the left leg, bring the foot to the floor, and then turn the focus to the right and take hold of the foot. If you're not, just that means put my teeth in. If that means that you're not straining through the shoulders, you take hold of the foot. And then, but if you are straining, then it's better to hold the knee. And then gently encourage that right knee towards the floor on the outside edge of that right hip. The left hip is going to lift. Okay, so you can almost kind of rock into it. Drawing down, the left side of the hip rocks up. And then you release back, and again, draw that knee towards the floor, and then hold it towards the floor. Just keep up a little bit of that dynamic tension. And then from this position, we then release into thread needle, which is the outside of that foot
on the knee and slide the hand behind the thigh and squeeze in. Draw that shin in. And then release out. Let's change sides. So half happy baby with the left leg, bring it in. Then if there's no strain in the shoulders, you take hold of the foot and you're encouraging that knee towards the floor. That left knee, right hip's going to just lift a little bit. So rock yourself a few times. Just on one side. And then hold it down. If it doesn't reach the floor, it doesn't matter. Just keeping a little bit of dynamic tension. And then release. That outside ankle comes to the top of the knee and you slide your hands behind. Encourage that leg to be pulled in. So you probably can feel this round the hip of the left side. And then let that leg go. So to rock up and back, it's a bit easier with your hands behind the back of the knees. So that's the first adjustment that you could do. Or you could hold onto your big toes if you want a little bit more challenge. And we're going to rock ourselves, take that off, rock ourselves up and back just a few times. After starting really gently in the practice, it's quite good just to get a little bit more energy moving. And then all the way up. Okay, let's do a forward bend first. So I'll just spin around. So lift up, hold on to the fronts of the ankles and lift. Draw the shoulders down, lift the chest. And then as you breathe out, just gently fold forwards. More than anything, you want to feel that extension between the tailbone and the crown of the head still. Breathing length into the spine. And then on inhale, you rise back up. Let's just let this Sarah come back in. There we go. And let's take hold of the big toes. So we find that point where we're balancing just on the sitting bones, the feet are lifted. Lift the chest. Then just take the right leg up, and it might not straighten straight away, but if we can head towards straight, that's as good as. So it might be here, doesn't matter, we're not trying to torture the body. And then go to the other side, take that bend as needed. And just a few side to side. Keep the chest lifting. Have that feeling that you're really strong through your center. That's your kind of your nucleus where you need to be strong from. One more each side, and then you probably know what's next. It's both legs together. Lift up again through the chest. Maybe take the legs a little bit wider. You can do it, of course, when you're holding your legs like that, if that's better, or with the knees bent a little bit, you still got that feeling of the chest lifting. And then breathe. Oh, so if you're holding the toes, and actually if you're holding the legs as well, it's quite good to then just have a little play and see if you can bring the legs together. Again, be mindful that you're not pulling your arms out of the sockets at the shoulder. Lift the chest. There's always that possibility of the challenge of releasing the hands. Whoop! Not always quite so easy to not roll back, but worth a go. Oh. And then down, squeeze in, and come all the way over. Just like I was mentioning at the beginning, we often do it in class. I just want to remind you, it's a really good way of kind of exploring, again, those malleable air tanks. Let the arms reach forward, come into child's pose, and just take 5 or so big, deep breaths. Again, expanding through the back of the body, expanding into the lungs, into the lower back, into the side ribs, and right up almost to the neck. And then empty from the top, the ribs, and the lower back. And slowly come up. So our next sequence should be so familiar. It's like slipping on an old shoe, and you can probably head straight into eyes closed and not having to follow. But you know, for that reminder, I will do the first sequence talking through the positions and the transitions in between the poses, and then next time I'll do it with a breath, and then we'll all just do it, you know, at our own pace. So just sort of maybe switch the mind on a little bit for the first time we do it. And so we begin. Fingertips come behind, ground the tailbone, and as you breathe in, lift the chest.
Take the head back, as long as your neck is okay for that. And then slowly transition to heart to earth pose. So the hips come up, the arms reach forwards. You're not forcing the heart down. And then there's that slow transition. Tuck the toes under, push the heels back into forearm plank. Knees down. You bring yourself all the way down. Forehead to the floor. And then rise into cobra. Exhale down. Slowly begin to rise all the way back up. And bring yourself gradually back to that starting position. Okay, keep going. We'll now do it with a breath. Inhale, lift. Take the head back. Exhale as you slide to Anahata. Inhale as you move into plank. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, back down. Inhale, up. And exhale all the way back to the start. So keep going. Breathe in, lift the heart, take the head back. Close the eyes as you slide to Anahata. Breathing out, breathe in, forearm plank. Breathe out as you come down. Inhale as you rise, cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale up.
And exhale back. So if it feels good with the eyes closed, continue. And just do it in your own time. We'll do at least 2 more rounds. Just continue in your own time. I'll try not to say anything, but I find it quite hard to keep my mouth shut. I'll do my best. Do use your Ujjayi breath with this. Let's just do one more. So wherever you are in your sequence, just continue and do a whole full round. And then whenever you finish, just stay seated. Just wait for a few breaths, just for everyone to catch up. And then make your way getting comfortable into all fours. Spread the hands, feel the hands. Just shift your hips a little bit side to side. Just a few little rounding and dipping, lengthening, expanding and contracting in cat-cow. And I often think it's important to, have a few really familiar sequences or little postures or couplets of postures to, have up your sleeve. So if you want to just roll your mat out and just do 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you've got enough there, it's all there. So a little bit more work for the shoulders. Sit yourself, ease yourself back down. And then let the left hand sort of just support you as you slowly take a soft right arm, so the elbow is soft, and take it all the way. Just reach as far back, don't go all the way around, because then you kind of reverse its journey and you sweep your other arm all the way back. So really opening and exploring the side, waist, armpit. And although, it's a good range of movement for the shoulder, it's chest, it's back, it's side, waist. So just a few more each side. Maybe exploring that arm coming back a little bit and then rolling it around to the other side.
Do one more each side. And then back into all fours. So now we're turning to a bit of hip work. A figure of 8 for the hip on the knee. So start left side and bring your left knee to your right elbow joint. Slowly, smoothly over to the left knee, right elbow joint to the left elbow joint. Then it sort of skims the floor, take it all the way back and slowly out and round. Keep going, don't rush it, but just let this leg sort of move in this figure of 8 smoothly. It doesn't always initially feel smooth because the hip can be a bit clunky. But over time, these muscles that support the joint kind of get really active and they know about the whole of the range of the movement that your hip can do. Because it's amazing how much, you know, just everyday life, it's just very linear. Sit down, stand up. That's about it, really. No, it's not, but you know, walking it can do. I know, you know, we're not heading to the Royal Ballet here, but we do want a good range of movement. And then we take the left leg, okay, and we're going to bring it to the outside. So take it back and then slot it to the outside of the right leg. Okay, so the knees are kind of crossed. And then just rock forwards and backwards in this cross leg position. So you've got your right leg that you can look at, that right leg's in front, left leg is tucked behind. And then take the feet and move them a little bit wider and walk yourself back to the space between the feet to sit. So if you front on, I'm just, it's sort of not that you can see much with dark leggings, but you've got the right knee on top, left knee underneath, and the feet at the side. If you can, you turn your feet out. If this is too painful for the hips, okay, don't crucify yourself. Just have that foot wherever it feels a little bit. I mean, it does challenge the hips for sure. The other thing you can do is get a cushion and sit on a cushion so you've got the height. Okay. Cow face pose, this is. So the knees are like the nose of the cow and the feet are the ears. And, you know, some of you came to India with me, but, you know, the cows out there, they've got this lovely kind of, just the ears are slightly dropped and soft and they come out the sides of the head. Seem a bit lower than the European cows. Anyway, they're sacred animals in the Hindu tradition. And it's good just to sit, let these hips marinate. But what we'll also do is we'll bring in the upper body work here and take the left arm up, bend it, slide the fingertips down the spine, encourage that top elbow joint to come towards the center of the line of the body, the center line of the body. And then we take the right hand out, rotate it. And if you're not going to bind, then of course just hold, you know, a belt if you've got one, but I probably easier just your t-shirt, your top. And we encourage the bottom elbow to draw to the center line of the body, just as we do the top elbow. Guess where the cow's head? Yeah. Who knows? Anyway. So it's either cow face pose or it's face of light. Quite like cow face pose. And then let that hands part or release your bind. Just slowly move the shoulders around. And to get out of this with the legs, we'll exit the same way we came in. Lift up step forwards and slowly take that left leg back. And then just to let everything recover, take the knees wide and just move the hips a little side to side. Circle them round. Will we ever get back to India? Who knows? Who knows? Happy memories nonetheless. Okay, so we're going to do that on the other side, and we start with that range, exploring a range of movement in the hip. Right knee to left elbow, over to the same side elbow joint. Take it up, back, slowly round. Figure of 8. Being really aware that we're working towards that smooth movement in the hip. Not all the supporting, stabilizing muscles to know what's happening, to be there. And then we take, let's go around one more time, and then we take this right leg and bring it to the outside. We land it on the outside of the left. Just shift forwards and backwards just a few times. And then let the feet part so you've got space to reverse back. Get your block or your cushion if you wanted a little bit of extra height, ease perhaps. We try to get the knees stacked on top of one another, the feet out to the side. But again, if it doesn't work for you, if it's, you know, some people find this position really comfortable and could like, oh, I can sit all day. Great, lucky them. Okay, this for me, this is quite challenging, but I could feel that I'm on the good side of a stretch. You know, there is sensation, and I'm breathing. But if there's too much going on here, I would just simply move that foot forward or even to the other side of that knee. Okay, let's bring the hands, arms in. Which side did we do? Okay, yeah, I think it's right side. Reach it up, bend the elbow, and you slide the fingers down the spine. Encourage the right elbow in towards the center line. And then rotate the other hand round, palm back, and bring them to bind. And just stay and sit, breathing. Just letting this position do its thing. And then gently release out. It's always good just to move the shoulders a little bit just to see how they're coping. Walk your hands forwards and then take the knees wide. It's important to take the knees wide and just release the hips. Circle them. That feels pretty good just to release out of that. And again, another thing that you can do just if you want to get onto your mat, even if it's post some sort of other form of kind of body movement, running, whatever you're doing, is the good old downward dog. So let's come into that soft expression of dog, where we're just listening to our body and moving and padding our feet and letting the hips sway a little bit side to side as the head also gets a little bit involved.
This is a great way to stretch the back of the body. And then you can sort of pepper it in with a little bit more challenge or a little bit more ease. So if you wanted to have a really gentle practice, you just head into child's pose, which of course, if you need that today, then do that. But if you wanted a little bit more challenge, you then come into expression of soft plank. And, you know, even though this energy belt around the center is feeling pretty strong and engaged and working hard, there's a kind of softness as you pad the feet, you sway the weight a little bit side to side, don't lock the elbow joints if you can avoid it, relax through the face and don't clench the jaw, and keep breathing. And then when you need to ease out, you simply come back to down dog. And then head back into plank. So let's all meet up in dog. And a little bit more work for the hips. We've been using the hips in different ways. Let's step the right foot forwards and just walk round. So we've got feet parallel. We're pulling, just have a little look at the feet, look at your instep. So if we ground the heel and push the ball of the foot into the mat, and then ground the little toe edge of the foot as well. And then the toes are the last thing that sort of rest down, but keep a little bit of energy in the instep. Okay, so you can look to see, kind of if you flatten the instep out, collapse the foot inwards, you know, you're not doing yourself any favours for that instep. But if you have a little bit more alertness for the feet, spread the toes, engage the instep, and then we'll do side to side. So we bend right knee, slowly walk, bend left, and of course you go as far as is right for you. And next time we head to the right, actually let's go to the centre first and get the foot placement change correct. Heels in, toes out, feet at 45. Then we're going to head over to a half squat. So if we walk over to the right, we lift the right heel and sort of sit on that right heel. The left leg is stretched out, the foot flexed. And then maybe there's that balance, which would either bring the hands just to the center or take them up in the mudra of Jai, victory mudra. Hands together at the crown of the head. Okay, before we transition to the other side, we release the hands down, keep the hips really low, so not lifting up any further than you have to. Creep over to the other side, lift the left heel and sit on that heel, but lift up through the spine. Oh, this side is a bit harder to balance, maybe it is for me, but oh. Okay, so if you can take your hands up and balance, then great. You might feel that fingers need to be on the floor, or maybe back to that Jai mudra. Okay, and then back to center, and just like we came into this, we walk our way forwards and step back. Squeeze the legs together in plank. So softer option, right knee down into side plank that way with that right knee support. Challenge is both legs straight, squeeze them together, rotate the heels to the right and lift the left. Thunder God. Breathe, keep squeezing the legs together, really reach that top arm up. So you've got that invisible force pulling it up. And then transition.
So if you're going for the softer, it's left knee down. If you're going for the challenging, both legs stay zipped up together. Right arm reaches up. Breathe. Slowly, hand comes down, knees come down, and enjoy a pause. Let the wrists recover, move as and when they need to. Forehead down. Slowly roll up. So we'll just do a forward bend, a couple of forward bends actually, and before our final rest. Right leg, knee bent, folded in. Little side stretch, twist, and a forward bend. Okay, left hand slides down the left leg, reach the right arm up. Keep that feeling that the chest is rotating and staying kind of open as you reach up with the right arm and slowly over. And then up. Hands either side of that straight leg. Sorry, it's the bent leg, isn't it? Forward fold over that bent leg. Slowly up. Plant the sitting bones back down again evenly. Left hand onto the right knee, lift and rotate. Ease out. Turn to the straight leg. You might want to move your right knee in just a little bit so you're more sort of facing straight leg. Lift and fold. Then walk yourself back up and change legs. Start with a side stretch. Reach up and over. Keep the straight leg foot flexed and awake. Slowly up. Forward bend over the bent leg. Lengthen with your inhale. And if you can, you're laying your torso on that thigh. Get a nice kind of massage for your belly. Floor squeaking. Actually, it's my foot squeaking on the floor. Promise. So that's definitely one of the perks of practicing at home. Inhale up. Reground those sitting bones. Go for that twist. So right hand onto left knee. Inhale up, exhale, rotate. Back out of that, and then we just move that left leg in a little bit and forward bend over the right leg, the straight leg. So again, lifting, inhale, and gently folding over that leg on exhale.
Gradually come up. Okay, come to lying, so roll yourself down. Squeeze your knees into your chest. All the hard work is done. So even if I know that some of you do have to, we'll be done by 20 past. Okay, so let yourself, even if you know you've got a busy day ahead of you, let yourself really take this time, these 5-6 minutes to rest. Let your body absorb the work that it's done. Been open, lengthened and stretched on the inside, on the outside. So you feel the weight of the body and you feel the rest just gently wash over you. Conscious, deep breathing. Not forcing it or having any particular structure or practice, but just following the breath. All the way in, all the way out. Letting every part of you, every cell in your body just be soft. No hard edges. So as you take the last few minutes of this full, deep rest, there's a lovely poem by Dana Falls called Just for Now. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now.
Lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you, and the infinite expanse of the sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. And breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, free, with awakened energy tingling in your hands and feet, drinking the possibility of being who and what you really are, so fully alive that the world looks different, newly born and vibrant, just for now. So slowly, no rush, let that yawn and that stretch start to reawaken your body. Bring the knees up to the chest, whatever feels good. Get the arms over the head. And then just gradually and slowly make your way to sit, and we'll seal our practice together. And we'll do it with a gesture, prana mudra gesture. Okay, have the hands, palms facing up and in the lap. And exhale completely, empty all breath. And as you breathe in, let the arms, hands lift all the way up and reach up. And then as you breathe out, bring them back down, regather. Hands settle back down into your lap, and we'll do it twice more. Inhale up, open up, and exhale. Let the hands settle back. Last time. Bring your hands together if that's meaningful for you, or if not, just place on your heart and just namaste and shanti, peace, shanti, peace, shanti, peace. Good. Hope you feel all right. Let me just finish the recording.